What's your last name?
My name?
What's your last name?
Figueroa.
Okay, so the Figueroa residence?
Yes.
Alrighty, so we're gonna do the video explaining their Champion dual fuel. So we've got an on-off start switch. So this is the electric start. This is what you're using to start your generator. Notice we've got, this is off all the way, then you've got a middle resting position, and then you've got the start. You have to hold this to start your generator. Now, it's not gonna start because your battery is not on. You have to have this battery switch on. Keep that in mind, okay? Also, you will not be able to pull start your generator with it in the off position. It has to be in the middle resting position on for you to even be able to use this one. In case your battery dies, you're gonna use the pull start, correct? So, you always want to put this on, but when you're not using your generator, it has to go off or your battery's going to drain because of this little light right there. These are all little circuit breaker resets. It's just like a trip. If it overloads, it'll pop out. That rarely ever happens. You're not going to have to really deal with that, but it's just something to keep in mind, you know. Also, these little resets, if you see it where there's gonna be a green light, yeah, you'll see it. There's a green light right there and right there. Well, there's a light right here and right here. And when it's running, you'll see that it turns green. If it's not turning green or if it's a yellow or a red, then that means that you gotta reset it. It's a GFI outlet. That's what that's referred to as. You've got a 120 volt 30 amp and you've got a 120 volt 240 volt 30 amp. What's the difference? What's the difference, guys? Look at it closely. I mean, it's very simple to see what the difference is. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So one has 4 prongs, one has 3 prongs. Make sure yours matches that, obviously. You see how they all have 3 of the same, like it's just like a line kind of, and then one has an L. One has a notch, right? So keep that in mind when you're trying to plug your thing in. I've had people like literally not see that and they're like, it won't go, it won't plug in. Fuel. This is on and that is off, and it's hard to see, but it is written there. So you just want it to point obviously to the off here or to the on there. Cool. So you can't move this while the fuel is on, you know, but that's if you were going to use propane. Obviously, if you're going to use propane, you can't have the gas fuel on, right? And it won't let you, obviously. It basically stops you from having both of the fuel sources on. Checking your oil is the yellow cap. This generator has the dipstick. It has the measuring, like, little, you know, X mark. It'll show you where you should have the oil be. As long as you're in that area, you're fine. Do not ever tip the generator and fill it with oil. People might do that because they are gonna spill the oil while trying to fill it at this angle because they might be missing a funnel. Don't ever tip it and try and fill the thing up. You're gonna overfill it. If you ever take this off and your oil is just overflowing out of it while we're on level ground like we are now, then it's overfilled. You just need it to be up to the threads, basically. So refer to the video. That's that. You do want to check your oil after, since we don't know, these units, when they're powering the house, when they're powering a load, will burn oil sometimes. So you also want to keep an extra quart of 10W30. The last thing you want to do is use this for a hurricane and then you burn oil and then you can't use it. It's got a low oil shutoff, so if you get too low, it's not going to start. Let's look over here. Let me actually turn it around so y'all can just chill, but it's an important aspect of when you're trying to start the generator. So obviously we've got the pull start. Don't ever yank it from right here and go as hard as you can. You want to pull out till you feel resistance right here. Then you pull it. when you're going like this and you're pulling hard, it's gonna put a ton of stress on there and it'll break a lot quicker. So we've got the choke. This is your choke lever. As you can see, we see one that's called choke, one is called run. So when you are first starting your generator for the first time, you're gonna have it on choke. Now you're gonna position yourself, since you have a battery and you know the battery's working, so you don't have to use this. You're gonna position yourself right where I am, right on the corner of this. You're gonna have one hand on the battery start stop switch to hold it while it's cranking, and the other hand is going to be here, and as it's cranking you're going to be slowly moving this over and it'll kick on. If you don't do that, it should still start, but it's just a way easier thing. We'll do a little example really quickly, and then I'm going to turn the generator back off to complete our little discussion here. But so we got to make sure we've got battery on. Cool, we've got the fuel on, okay. Choke to the left. We've got my hand on this. We're gonna hold the start button. And so now you hear how it sounds. Okay? If your gen is running funky, check to make sure you've got this on the right end. So you see how it acts when you're starting it and it's only on choke and you're not moving it. It's gonna just go real slow and groggy. Once you move it over, it's giving it enough airflow to where it just takes off and it's running at the rated RPM that it's supposed to be. 3,600 RPM. So, oh, yeah, hey.
No, because I ran it by the back of the house under the.
Don't ever.
Don't ever.
No, you want it out. You want it out in the open air like this, kind of. I would always make sure that the exhaust is pointing outwards. Okay, don't ever run it in your garage.
No.
If you've got a pool area, I don't know if you have a pool.
Yeah, we were running it under the screen enclosure.
Okay, that's fine. The screen enclosure is fine because it's like not blocking air, right? It's just like the mosquito net.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's fine. Just make sure though that you don't have the exhaust too close to the mosquito net because that'll catch it on fire type shit. So keep that in mind. All right. Let's see here. I think that's basically it for this. When you're done running your generator, to prevent your carburetor from clogging up, ultimately at the end of hurricane season, you're going to start the generator. You don't have to be plugging it in and powering the house. Just start it like we did right now. You know, bam, bam. See how it struggled a tad bit because it was not on the choke. But once it started, it ran great. So, when you're going to be done hurricane season, all you do now, instead of shutting it off with the switch, you're going to turn the fuel valve off, which burns off that extra gas that's in the carburetor, and it prevents it from getting clogged because there's no fuel to clog it, right? It's going to run funky, and it'll run for a minute or so. You're like, why the fuck is it even running right now? The gas is off. But I just wanted to I just want to show you what it's, all right, you see how it's starting to make weird noises? Okay, that's what it's going to do until it finally shuts off. We're going to we're going to use it still, so we don't need to do that just yet. So we're going to make sure that the fuel is back on. All right, cool. So now that is that.